Now, some people have already used this against you to your detriment, that dusty ex situationship of yours. So, what you're gonna do now is just use it to your benefit. This episode is for those who actually want to change. You don't need me to convince you anything. You're clearly here because something's not working. You've been trying hard. You keep going back and forth with yourself. You're running around in circles. You keep negotiating with yourself when it comes time to wake up and go to work or go to the gym. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Golden Africa and welcome to those who are new here. My name is Murundi Sarah and thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with me. Now, today's episode is all about identity shifts and how you legit need to become a different person in order to achieve your dream reality. Everything that you have, everything that you've been, and how you've been thinking, and how you've been doing the things that you've been doing has led you exactly where you are right now. And I personally think that the fact that you clicked onto this podcast means that you're ready for a new reality. You're ready to achieve your goals finally. I think there's no way around it. You legit have to kill your old self in order to become a whole new person, the type of person to actually achieve your dream reality. The same way that in order for a caterpillar to morph into a butterfly, they quite literally disintegrate and cocoon and then eventually grow and morph into a butterfly. I don't personally believe in villainizing your old self and, blaming them for not achieving what you always wanted to achieve. You can still honor them and honor the fact that they've led you to this point. I think this is a very critical stage that everyone has to go through. When I observe all the successful people that I typically learn from, I realize that in their stories, they always reach like a critical stage where they look at themselves and they realize, you know what? The person I am right now cannot achieve the big vision that I have. I actually have to change. I have to grow. So when I look at all the people that I admire, Yabari, like Stephen Bartlett, Grace Beverly, Paul Kagame, Vuzite Mbekwayo, like everyone that I've looked to kind of create a blueprint for myself, they all come to this stage where they are faced with the reality that they have to become a whole new person in order to achieve the massive vision that they have for themselves. There's no way to escape it if you want your life to transform, at least in an exponential way. The reality is, you can't have one foot in and one foot out. You actually have to go all in. You have to bet on yourself. So something's gotta give. You can't want to be different and also remain the same. You can't keep the same habits, same friends, same environment, same everything. You've heard this piece of advice where some of these millionaires and whatever say, well, in order for you to truly transform your life, you actually have to move away from your hometown and whatever. Now, it might not apply to everyone, but the concept of it can be applied to everyone and in any industry. You can't remain the same and also want to be different. You have to become a whole new person and keep pushing yourself by also pushing all your comfort zones, whatever that might look like. Is it your hometown? Is it your family? Is it who is keeping you small? What is keeping you small? That's what you need to challenge in order to become a whole new different person. That's exactly what's keeping you in this state of like having to perform, having to conform, and having to stay the same person that they've always known, because that's what's comfortable for them as well. And that's what's comfortable for you, because then no one is challenging you. They're comfortable, you're comfortable, and everything's fine. And if you like this, that's up to you. This episode is for those who actually want to change. You don't need me to convince you anything. You're clearly here because something's not working. You've been trying hard. You keep going back and forth with yourself. You're running around in circles and you keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again. You keep negotiating with yourself when it comes time to wake up and go to work or go to the gym. You keep faltering. You have personal appointments that you set for yourself in your calendar that sometimes you just don't honor. There are some things that you've set in place even when you have the systems, but you find yourself still negotiating with yourself. You find yourself still falling short on these personal goals. This identity, this type of person that you've been, is definitely not the one that will help you carry you through to achieving your dream reality. How can we change this thing that comes to you all the time, that forces you to keep negotiating with yourself, that is a bit lazy and is somehow okay with staying comfortable? How do we then go from this person who's always negotiating with yourself and who falls short and sometimes is comfortable missing the personal appointments that you set for yourself, from that and go into a different version of yourself where now whenever your alarm goes off, you're out the door? Whenever your gym sessions come in, you never miss any. Whenever you have whatever personal appointments in your schedule, you don't miss them, even when no one is watching, even when no one else is holding you accountable. The first thing I would say is you have to get very, very clear about your vision. Many of us have like a Pinterest board of your vision board, or you have your vision board on your desktop background or your phone background. That's not necessarily what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the nitty-gritty details. Yes, you want this massive house. Yes, you want this incredible job, but how much does the job pay you? What kind of car are you driving? What kind of lifestyle are you living? What kind of body type do you have? Basically, get down into the nitty-gritty details of this vision of yours. And then what you're gonna do now is work your way backward. Now, this is an exercise that you're already good at because you're always comparing yourself to other people. You're always giving yourself excuses of how you aren't necessarily the type of person who can achieve that. Whenever a job opportunity comes in, you're like, oh, since I'm not really meeting the mark. When a business deal comes in, you always come up with excuses of why your company is still too small to handle such a big project. There's so many other excuses that you keep practicing. You're basically working the same parts of your brain, in my personal opinion, but this time you're doing it to your own benefit instead of to your own detriment. Are we still together? I hope I haven't lost you. So now that you've, yes, identified your vision, you know what kind of person would be able to achieve this goal. You know what kind of business would be able to handle this kind of project. Now that you've identified that and you've identified what parts of yourself are not necessarily optimized to achieve this dream reality, what parts of your business are not optimized to handle this type of project. Now you're gonna play another game. I'm sorry to offend you yet again, but this is also something that you're used to: imposter syndrome. At some point in your life, in your work, or in your business, you felt like an imposter. They're gonna find out that I'm not good enough. For instance, they've given you like a speaking opportunity at work, and you're finding all these excuses of not being able to do it. We're going to use that same part of your brain, that same exercise, to now create exponential beneficial results into your life. So what we're going to do is become an imposter, embrace it, actually become this new type of person. So if you're saying, okay, I'm not good enough to do this public speaking gig, da 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 da, the new type of imposter is now going to think, okay, what kind of person is great at it? What do they do on a regular? How do they practice? How do they improve their skills? How do they become great orators? And then embody that. Or for instance, we're talking about when they're doing a pitch for your business and you want to secure this big deal. Think to the type of person who would ace this pitch. What kind of person are they? What do they do on their day-to-day? What actually makes them more confident? Is it the fact that they keep honoring all their promises? Is it the fact that they create their slide decks weeks ahead and then practice them, and then by the time the pitch comes in, they know about the slide deck in and out, that they don't even need to look at the slide? Now, I'm not saying go way out of your depth here. No, you can start at any level that you want, either push yourself into the deep end or start step by step. I would recommend that you compartmentalize this identity shift type thing, where you now apply it to different parts of your work or different parts of your lifestyle. For example, ukavuga wenda, I am not necessarily the most fit person. Now, this identity is not what's gonna help you become a more fit person, right? So now here, you're gonna do a little bit of gaslighting on yourself. Now, some people have already used this against you to your detriment. That dusty ex situationship of yours has used this tactic against you. So what you're gonna do now is just use it to your benefit. With this gaslighting thing, I'm gonna take it easy because some of you might have trauma, right? So we're gonna take it easy on this step. When it comes to gaslighting yourself, for example, if your goal is to become a more fit version of yourself, the identity of, oh, I don't like lifting weight, or I'm not a morning person, all these identities don't necessarily help you achieve this goal. You have to understand that even the biggest superstars in life, they also have this form of like gaslighting where they impersonate their own alter ego. Basically, they become a whole new person, especially when they're performing. For example, Beyonce. Some time back, there was this whole news about Sasha Fierce and whatever. And I'm not talking about the Illuminati nonsense. I'm talking about the element of the alter ego. Beyonce isn't Beyonce in real life. But when she's performing, she takes up this whole new persona, this whole new identity. You've also had friends, or you've been this guy who, whenever they're going on a date with someone, or whenever they're trying to move at a girl, they're like, oh, I am him, I am him. That's an alter ego. So you've seen so many different forms of this, and perhaps you've even used different forms of this. So it's nothing different from what you're already used to. You can see a pattern here, right? So now you're just gonna have to use this to become a better version of yourself, to become a better performer. So now when you get this gig of, public speaking, you don't have to go as the shy Sarah. You can go as her. You can call this alter ego whatever you want to call it, or call it nothing at all. It could be him, it could be her, it could be Sasha Fierce, it could be Ye, it could be anything you want it to be. The premise of this is to make sure that you're basically becoming a better version of yourself by borrowing the consistency, the confidence, the prowess, the smarts of a different version of yourself, of an alter ego. You can put on this identity, borrow that little bit of confidence here and there, and then while you're working on that, while you're still in the stage of having to borrow what you don't have, you could also be upgrading yourself by increasing your skills, putting in the reps, being more consistent in the different skills that you're trying to learn. It could be about learning a new language, becoming a better orator, becoming a more confident public speaker, becoming a better entrepreneur, a better leader at your workplace. You can apply it to anything that you want to achieve in life. Once you've embraced this strategy of identity shifting, becoming an imposter, and having an alter ego, the reality of your life basically shifts. When you choose this new alter ego or this version of yourself that you want to embody, with time, it stops being compartmentalized. And say it's an alter ego for the gym, an alter ego for when you're doing public speaking. It basically cuts across through your entire life. And with time, you realize that you're no longer negotiating with yourself. You're no longer whining before you go to the gym. Honestly, this applies to everything. It's not just when it comes to being super strict. It also applies to when you have a goal of, having more fun in your life, and your friends invite you out, or they invite you for an impromptu gahunda, or they invite you out on a trip, and you're like, you know what? This work that I have in here can also be done well in Bali. And you no longer have to basically second guess yourself when faced with an opportunity to make your dream life a reality. This version of myself that I bring onto Gold in Africa is not who I am in real life. In fact, sometimes I'm so lazy and I just need to switch back into her, and she will definitely call me out on my own bullshit due to a lack of better words. Honestly, this girl gets me up. So my offering to you is this alter ego. Reach out to us via email at goldenafrica@gmail.com with your dilemma or what you're facing, so that we can discuss it on this platform. That way, we get to help each other achieve our dream realities through community. So yeah, again, to reinforce this, in order for you to achieve your dream reality, it is so much easier for you to embrace a different version of yourself who can get things done instead of always negotiating with yourself when it comes to opportunities that help propel you to this dream reality. I want to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry for how harsh this episode might have come across, but I have a sneaky feeling that this is exactly the tone of voice that you needed to push you forward into becoming the best version of yourself. And to be honest with you, I also needed to hear this message. So now that I've put it out there, I can't be a hypocrite. I have to follow my own advice. So as we wrap up this episode, I am officially breaking up with the old version of myself, the one that was lazy, the one that backed down when it came to challenges, the one that didn't show up to the gym, the one that convinced herself not to create content that really lights up her life. And I know this is not everyone's cup of tea, but I appreciate you for actually still being here and listening to this message. It's not easy to hear and it's definitely not easy to apply, but once you do, I promise you your life will definitely change. That's pretty much it for this week's episode. Kindly like, comment, and subscribe. And I know you have a lot of thoughts on this, so please drop them in the comments so that we can keep this conversation going. I'll see you in the next episode. As always, my dear, stay gold and go get it.